The bottom page of the math test was focusing on the different ways to display division. So in our first problem, we had a division sentence written horizontally, which we needed to change into our normal way so that we could use long division, as it says. So when I'm reading, I have 980 divided by 5. That means 980 is the dividend. That's what goes inside the house. And then I have 5 as the divisor, which goes outside the house and fuels all of our questions when we're using our divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and repeat or remainder. So let's go ahead and start our long division. How many times can 5 go into 9? 5 can go into 9 once. Now we multiply. What is 1 times 5? 1 times 5 is 5. Next we subtract. 9 minus 5 equals 4. So we need to bring down our next number, which here is an 8. This makes 48, and we're going to use that as we repeat and go back up to the top for division. My next question is how many times 5 can fit into 48? Thinking of my math facts, 5 can fit into 48 9 times. And now let's multiply. 9 times 5 is 45. Our next step is to subtract. And I see I have 3 left over from this. Now I'm on to the B step, which is bring down, and I have a 0 to bring down. This makes 30. And I can repeat again with my division question. How many times can 5 fit into 30? 5 can fit into 30 exactly 6 times, because 6 times 5 is 30. When I subtract, I see there is no remainder, so that leaves my quotient for this problem as 196. For the next problem, we have 20 divided by 5, and we're using repeated subtraction. Repeated subtraction is when I take the dividend, in this case 20, and I keep subtracting the divisor over and over and over again until I reach 0. Once I've reached 0, I need to count how many times it took me to subtract to 0, and that is what our quotient is. So let's do this for 20 divided by 5. Going to take 20 minus 5, which is 15. That is still not at 0, so we need to go and do another round of subtraction. 15 minus 5 is 10. Still not at 0, so we must do it again. 10 minus 5, it's getting us closer. Still not at 0, so we need to go again. And 5 minus 5 finally puts it at 0. When I count up, I see that I had to subtract 1, 2, 3, 4 times, so our quotient is 4. The final way that we learned was using modeling. And this is when we represent each amount using base 10 blocks and groupings. So we have 38 divided by 3. So I need to show 38 using base 10 blocks. 38 using base 10 blocks would look like 3 tens rods and 8 singles, or 8 ones. Now we're dividing that into 3 groups, so I need to express 3 groups. And now this is where we can start passing out the materials, or passing out the blocks that we have, starting with our largest place. Our largest place, our largest blocks, is the tens blocks. So I'm going to take these rods and distribute 1 into each group. That means I've passed out 3, so I can scribble out 3 of the tens rods. I don't have any more tens rods, which means I move on to the next place. So the next place I have is the ones, and if I go 1 round, it means that I've passed out a total of 3. So I can scratch off 3 of them. This still leaves us 5 blocks. So I know I can go another round of passing out. If I pass out 1 more to each group, it means that I can cross out 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now I have 2 left. Well, having 2 left, I can't put them into all 3 groups equally. So they have to kind of hang out outside, or they remain outside of the quotient. This gives us a remainder of 2. So let's interpret our answer. We have to see how much fit into the equal groups. So I have 1 10 rod and 2 1s in each group. 10 plus 1 makes 12. So we have a quotient of 12, and we can't forget about our remainder, which is a remainder of 2.